What if death is not the end? What if, hidden inside the minds of children, there are memories not from their own lives, but from someone else's? All around the world, thousands of young children have claimed to remember details of past lives. Some recall names, families, hometowns, and even the way they died. Many of these children are too young to even read or understand such details. And yet, when their words are checked, the facts often line up with real people who once lived and died. These stories raise some of the biggest questions humanity has ever asked. Does reincarnation exist? Can the soul survive death and return to live again? Tonight, we journey into the strange and emotional world of children who remember past lives. Part 1. The Case of Shanti Devi, India, 1930s. One of the earliest and most famous cases of a child recalling a past life comes from India. In the 1930s, a little girl named Shanti Devi, born in Delhi, began telling her parents strange things at the age of 4. She insisted that her real home was not in Delhi, but in a town called Mathura, nearly 90 miles away. She said she had a husband there, a shop, and even a child. At first, her parents thought she was just making up stories. But as she grew older, her memories became more detailed. She described the exact layout of a house in Mathura, the color of the walls, and even conversations she claimed to have had before her death. Her story caught the attention of Mahatma Gandhi, who arranged an investigation. Shanti was taken to Mathura, where she immediately recognized her past life husband and her old home. She described private details of her marriage, her pregnancy, and her death during childbirth. Details only the family could have known. The case was documented and became famous worldwide, leaving people to wonder, how could a little girl know such things unless she truly lived before? Part 2. James Leininger, USA, 1990s. In the 1990s, a young American boy named James Leininger from Louisiana began having terrifying nightmares about airplanes crashing. At just 2 years old, he would scream in his sleep, "Airplane crash!" Little man can't get out. His parents were disturbed. How could such a young child describe a fighter plane crash so vividly? As he grew, James began sharing more details. He said he had been a fighter pilot in World War II named James, who flew from a ship called the Natoma. He claimed he was shot down by the Japanese near Iwo Jima. His father, a former skeptic, began researching. To his shock, he found that there really had been a pilot named James Houston Jr. who flew off the USS Natoma Bay and was killed in 1945, exactly as his son described. James also recognized fellow pilots from old photos and gave names that checked out historically. The case stunned researchers and remains one of the most famous modern examples of a possible past life memory in the West. Part 3. The Boy from Syria. In a small village on the border of Syria, a story unfolded that shocked not only the locals, but also researchers who later heard about it. A little boy, barely 3 years old, began telling his family something unusual. He remembered being someone else before he was born. He said that in his other life, he had been murdered. He described in detail how a man had struck him on the head with an axe and buried his body in a nearby field. At first, the villagers thought the child was just speaking nonsense. But the boy was very serious. He repeated his claims again and again, using words and emotions that seemed far too heavy for such a young child. Eventually, the elders decided to listen. They followed him as he led them into the countryside. The boy walked straight to a spot and pointed at the ground. He said, "This is where I was buried." Skeptical but curious, the villagers began to dig. To their horror, they unearthed a skeleton. Even more chilling, the skull showed a clear fracture, a wound that matched exactly the injury the boy described. The villagers were stunned. How could a 3-year-old know such a thing? But the story didn't end there. The boy then led the elders to a nearby village and pointed to a man. "That's the one who killed me," he said, without hesitation. The accused man turned pale when confronted. Some reports say he even confessed quietly to the crime, while others claim he remained silent. Either way, the fear in his eyes was enough to convince many that the boy's story was true. This case is especially powerful because it was not just words. It came with physical evidence: a body, a skull injury, and even a suspect identified by the child. Many researchers in reincarnation studies see this as one of the strongest examples of a child recalling a past life. The villagers believed the boy had returned not just with memories, but also with a mission: to reveal the truth about his death and to find justice for the life that had been stolen from him. Part 4. The work of Dr. Ian Stevenson. Many of these cases might have been dismissed as coincidence, if not for the tireless work of a scientist. Dr. Ian Stevenson, a psychiatrist from the University of Virginia, spent over 40 years studying children who claimed to remember past lives. He personally investigated more than 2,500 cases from countries like India, Lebanon, Turkey, and the United States. In many of them, the children gave names, family details, and even causes of death that were later verified. Some children even had birthmarks or scars that matched wounds from their supposed past lives. For example, a boy in India remembered being a man who was killed by a shotgun blast to the chest. He was born with strange round marks across his torso, in the exact place where the man had been injured. Dr. Stevenson carefully documented these cases, and while he never claimed absolute proof, his research remains one of the strongest scientific arguments that reincarnation might be real. Part 5. Possible explanations. So how can we explain these strange cases? There are several theories. Skeptics argue that children might overhear information from adults, or that parents might unintentionally encourage their stories. In some cultures where reincarnation is a common belief, children might be influenced by community expectations. Psychologists suggest these memories could be the result of imagination, dreams, or even genetic memories passed down from ancestors. But the sheer detail in some cases, like James Leininger's World War II knowledge or Shanti Devi's intimate memories, makes many people believe something deeper is happening. Supporters of reincarnation believe the soul carries memories that can sometimes slip through the veil of birth, allowing a child to recall moments from another existence. The circle of life. The idea of reincarnation is ancient, stretching across Hinduism, Buddhism, and even some Western philosophies. For believers, these children are proof that life is a circle, not a straight line. That when one life ends, another begins. But even if reincarnation cannot be proven, these haunting stories remind us of something universal: the mystery of human existence. Where do we come from? Where do we go when we die? And could it be possible that our stories never truly end? Perhaps the answers lie in the innocent voices of children, who sometimes remember far more than we expect. Do you believe in reincarnation? Have you ever heard a child say something so strange that it felt like a memory from another life? Share your thoughts and stories in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell icon for deeper dives into mysteries that science cannot explain.